Hello, hockey and basketball fans. My name is David. Thought I would start this video at 10:04 on the evening of Sunday, 23rd of July, 2023, North American Eastern Time. Thought I would take this video mostly about the result of the arbitration hearing involving Leafs goalie Ilya Samsonov. Got the news, Hockey World got the news that just hours before I started recording this video, an arbitrator had awarded Samsonov a one-season contract with a cap hit of $3.55 million US. Whilst that cap hit was above what I believe Samsonov deserved, with Stuart Skinner on his most recent contract having agreed to, with the Oilers, a per-season cap hit of $2.6 million US. The decision of the arbitrator is final, and it may very well, and it means that the Leafs have to make a whole bunch of moves to try to get cap compliant. It's unfortunate that this is a flat cap. This is a fourth season in a row of a flat cap, and that thus the Leafs are going to have to do a lot of juggling. Hopefully, the Leafs will manage to free up to be able to get a cap hit that is $2 million US or more below the relevant cap, so to make room for call-ups from the minors. Last season, there were a bunch of times when Matt Murray, when he got injured with under 10 games to go in the regular season, could not be put on a long-term injury reserve, and thus forcing the Leafs to have to use a series of goalies signed to amateur tryouts. Hopefully, the Leafs will never again be in such a situation. In order to do that, that means if they want to call up a goalie, they need the cap space to do so, even if they cannot use LTIR because it is too late during the regular season to do so, as it was last season. So yes, but then there are also minor league call-ups. I mean, what if a bunch of forwards and or D-men go down to injury? What are the Leafs going to do? That's a problem. Health's going to be key because cap space is going to be at a premium most likely throughout the season. And yes, there are theories about the cap going up, the NHL salary cap going up for the 2024-25 season. But how much will it go up? We don't know that. NHL Commissioner Bettman hasn't said. That for this season, the cap went up by $1 million US compared to last. And that's the thing. What if the cap goes up by another to just $1 million for next season? That's the problem I have. The Leafs need to be prepared for the cap to only go up by $1 million US for next season, unless Commissioner Bettman makes it clear that it's going to go up by more than $1 million. And who knows where the cap situation for the Leafs will be then. Currently, the Leafs are... I'm going to just try to go... Just going to go to Twitter here. I'm going to see if I can... Just going to see if I can... Alright, what we're going to do is, you can see here, things don't look too good. Leafs, before subtracting cap hits of players on LTR, currently, so far, just D-man Jake Muzzin. Leafs are more than $12 million US over the cap. But if taking into account, if subtracting the cap hit of Muzzin, who has not played a game for the Leafs since last October, Leafs have to free up. Oops, sorry that. I'm just trying to close some of these captions of the videos there. So the Leafs will need to free up a bit under $6.8 million of cap space so that they become cap compliant. So that's the thing. The current cap hit for the Leafs is almost $96 million. I'm thinking, that's a lot. Well, it is. But they have Jake Muzzin on LTR. Now they just need to trade away a combo of candidates. I'm not sure who they're going to trade away, but come to the roster. Let's look at the forward group here. And again, you can see there, and they have 3 forwards. Max Domi, David Kampf, and Kyle Yarncrook with modified no trade clauses. But Matthews, Tavares, Marner, and Bertuzzi with full-blown no-move ones. Nylander has a modified no-trade clause. But yes, now I'm going to look to the forward group. Among forwards, among defensemen, who the Leafs have. So, if you look at the defense core, and we have, in terms of, not modified no trade clauses for some, a full-blown no move clause for this season for Morgan Rielly, but why trade away Rielly, to keep him? Because that's an issue. And the goalies will have to deal with as well. Murray has been has been very inconsistent. Who knows if another team in the NHL will accept his cap hit, or even enough of it, for the Leafs to reduce their cap hit with respect to him by at least $4 million. If a buyout cannot be done because Murray is injured, then the Leafs will have pretty much no choice but to have to put him on long-term injured reserve. And long-term injured reserve means Murray's cap hit does not count against the cap, but rather it's unless he is reactivated, that is. And also look at players in the minors, and with any such player, with a fair number of them, indeed, among forwards, only Kyle Clifford and Bob McMahon not waivers exempt. Among defensemen, William Lagesson and Maxime Lajoie are not waivers exempt. All other players under contract to the Leafs are exempt from being waived. And also, no player currently in the minors or major junior has a cap hit of, you see there, of even $900,000. Never mind $1 million. That means, all right, let's see what the maximum is. Let's have to go to Calgary Flame for a moment here. I have to see about the, it's going to do a Calgary Flame. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Did I try Dallas Stars? Now I'm going to try to go to Calgary Flames. So let's see about Kevin Rooney, a center currently in the minors. And for one season, for a cap hit of $150,000, because of his cap hit having been too high to have included it entirely in the minors. So it's 1.3 million, I believe it's the limit. Kevin Rooney, yeah, it's 1.3 million under contract to the Flames via the Calgary Wranglers. And again, it should be noted that the Flames and AHL Wranglers each play at the Scotiabank Saddledome. About the only thing I can think of, two NHL, two hockey teams sharing the same arena, as far as I know, is the Edmonton Oilers and from the WHL, the Oil Kings. But again, I believe it's $1.3 million US is the maximum cap hit that can be bared in the minors before there's a penalty, before any remaining cap hit can be above, has to be included, as part of the team's cap hit. So it's important because otherwise teams would not be cap compliant. So yeah, So I'm not sure what moves the Leafs are going to make, but they're going to have to make quite a few moves because although I understand the claim made last week by TSN goalie analyst Marty Biron on First of 1050, the morning show on Toronto radio station TSN 1050, that Samsonov had been a number one, and the claim made that the arbitrator's ruling of a $3.55 million US cap hit for this season had been a win. I disagree with Biron. On respect to the claim made on on the TSN 1050 radio show in question. Number one, no. I mentioned my complete disagreement with Biron's take on Samsonov having been a number one NHL goalie. Yes, I understand that during the Jets Golden Knights series, Hellebuck wasn't very good at times, and he very often gave up ugly goals, in particular in games 4 and 5. That doesn't make Samsonov any better. Indeed, I'd argue that Samsonov, allowed too many ugly goals of his own. And the Panthers, indeed, too many ugly goals. Let's face facts here. Samsonov should have been prepared to accept a cap hit of $2.6 million US or less per season. As Samsonov wasn't prepared to do that, and because of the losing culture of Dubas, under Kyle Dubas, of giving, each of Marner, Matthews, and Tavares per season cap hits into octuple digits. Here we are. I hope that never again will the Leafs have to resort to arbitration to try to resolve a contract dispute. Yes, even if Samsonov had been prepared to accept a per season cap hit no higher than what Stuart Skinner of the Oilers last season had, effective for a contract that has been in effect only from this month, Leafs would have been over the cap anyway, even with long-term injury reserve. Question now, what to do about Matt Murray? Is Matt Murray healthy, or is he injured? It's important to note, I go back to that claim made, with a couple claims made, in March of last year about Mrazek from Nick Kyprios, co-host of the Daytime via Sportsnet 590 The Fan, the Real Kipper and Bourne show, about an inability of an NHL team to buy out a player who had been, quote, hurt, unquote. I wish, and I wish, Kyprios would have used like a more injured, more specifically, because again, hurt can have so many meanings. And that's the unfortunate thing about English. Well, more specifically, I believe, Kyprios said, quote, you cannot buy a guy out who's hurt, unquote. In a Twitter response, I mentioned that even if it was possible to buy out Mrazek, it was going to cost the Leafs money. Leafs didn't have to buy out Mrazek, but they did move back in the 2022 NHL Interdraft. Yes, the Leafs got an early second rounder rather than the late first rounder. Doesn't matter. The Leafs impact from the draft was minimal in my view. But again, the problem is that the Problem was that Mrazek was not, was allowed a lot of ugly goals. I mean, yes, perhaps the Blackhawks were attracted to a record with respect to wins and regulation, overtime, and shootout losses of 12-6, 0, and 0. Matt Murray was a sieve too often. Just have to see how Matt Murray plays. I'm just going to see. If for a matter here. All right, let me go to. Let's go. Okay, here. Just going to see if the Leafs. I'm just going to go to the Leafs. All right, I'm just going to see if I can find something there. Cap really doesn't have the record, but LD is all right. Just going to see if I can get. See if I can get. Matt Murray, NHL. So during the regular season, Murray, when he had a decision, when he was tagged with a win or loss, had a record with respect to wins and regulation and extra time losses of 14, 8, and 2. So that meant 30 points for the Leafs in over 24 games, during which decision was tagged to Matt Murray. Thinking, oh, that's not so bad. But that he lost 10 games. That he was tagged with 10 losses. So 30 points over 24, so taking 1.25. Where he was points percentage of, let's see here, 62.5. Whereas Mrazek's was slightly better at 66 2/3. Mrazek was hurt, but perhaps what really attracted the Blackhawks was that Mrazek had done relatively well, at least. Problem is that Murray was out for lengthy stretches of time. Mrazek was too, but again, Murray was very much a sieve, at least from particularly from January onward. So I'm going to go through. Just go with regular season. Murray was not used whatsoever during the postseason. What I thought I would do is this available on his, this is available on his pay on the NHL pay, Leafs paid, whatever. You can see there. Has a list of goals against averages. And yeah. So thought I would do is go through just a very summary here, or save percentages, whatever. And again, go from October to December when he was used. Let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 7 to 14 games in which Murray played, he had a save percentage below 91.0 in 7 of them. From January to last April, He played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. He played 12 games. I'm just going to take a quick look over. When you have save percentage of at least 91.0. So we had 1, 2, save percentage above there. So we have, whoops, sorry that. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. So in 8 of 12 games in which Murray played last season, he had a save percentage below 91.0. And yes, one must ask, how many outie goals did he give up? He gave up a lot. And the worst part of it is that that Kyle Dubas, then the GM of Leafs, knew that Murray had been vulnerable to getting injured over and over again. Medical staff claimed, oh, no problem, Matt Murray's fine. Guess what happened? So last July, episode of the Real Kipper and Bourne show, co-host Justin Bourne claimed that Murray's health would be a problem during the then upcoming season for the Leafs. Oh boy, was Bourne proven right. Even also in October, there was a claim made by Sid Cicero, co-host of Breakfast TV, CTV Toronto's morning show, that Murray had gotten hurt, that Murray had repeatedly gotten injured, and that Dubas knew about it, had known about it. Well, yeah. 4 games into the regular season, Murray was done for at least the next 10. And with a groin injury, Murray was gone, limped off the ice during a team practice on a given weekend. Oh my goodness. I mean, yes, I understand that ice hockey brings a risk of being injured. The problem is that the Leafs should have steered clear of Matt Murray, but because they didn't, here we are. Samsonov have been awarded over $3 million for one season. The Leafs less compliant with the captain than they had already been, and having to figure out what to do about Murray. This would not have happened. This might not have happened had the Leafs steered clear of Murray and they'd gone after one of those unproven guys for regional captain, of course, maybe for one season, as the Jets chose to do with Laurent Brossoit, who had done quite well in the last postseason, having beaten what would be his next team. What a coincidence. The Jets had already, Jets GM Trevor Dayoff had already seen for himself what Brossoit could do. And when it was time for Brossoit's contract to become up for renewal, it was time to try the Winnipeg Jets. Very strange, considering the Jets were just came nowhere close to winning that series against the Golden Knights. And the Leafs, could argue the Leafs did in each of the final 4 games of that conference semifinal against the Panthers, ended up, having each game decided by a goal, Leafs losing 3, but winning 1 of them. That the Panthers-Leafs series was closer than the Jets-Golden Knights series the month before. Well, yeah. If I'm not mistaken, the Leafs ended up, I have to check that out, but I believe the Leafs lost their last game of that conference semifinal in overtime, I believe single overtime. The Jets, by contrast, end up losing their final game of the playoff series that got them booted by a score of 4-1. A hand pass by Blake Wheeler on what appeared to have been a good goal, nullifying said goal. I don't blame. The TSN recap of that goal, of that attempted goal by the Jets, clearly shows Wheeler having made a hand pass. desperate to win that face-off, but it hadn't been looking good. Put it right down the ice surface, to the hand, probably the left hand or whatever, try to pass that puck back. If it hadn't been a hand pass, the goal might very well have counted. But even if that goal had counted, it would have been enough. The Jets would have still lost that game 4-2. Yes, they emptied the net. Yes, the Jets, Coach Bonus of the Jets did pull Hellebuck for an extra attacker. But that worked only partially. I believe it was one goal that was scored as a result. Nowhere close to where the Jets needed to be to win a critical game. So yeah, Leafs definitely have to make their moves. The question is where they go from here, because they're not cap compliant as it is. They need to reduce their cap hit, and it's a question of how they're going to do that. It'll be interesting to find out. But in the meantime, I'm going to wrap up this video. Just remember, if you like the video, you can always click like at the one of the buttons on below where the video show. If you want to subscribe to my channel, please feel free to do so. If you do subscribe to my channel, you will get more timely notification of videos that I release. And also, please note that I try to put out videos at least every other week, even during the NHL, NBA offseason. Anyway, to wrap up the stream, wrap up the video, I'm going to say, go Leafs go Raptors go, and go Canada go.